This show is brought to you in part by some amazing people. I like to call them my Patreon podcast producers. They're all on Instagram, so go give them a follow. Daryl at Your Level Fitness, Amy at Gym of the Gym, that's GEM of the GYM, Caitlin at Caitlin Elise. Make sure you put a Y in her name. That's 3 Ys because she's 3 times as awesome. Crystal at Reduced Fat Mama. I always love that name. Very clever. And Emily at M is the Biggest Loser. That's EM is the Biggest Loser. But guess what? She's a winner, as is all of these fine folks. And if you want to have your name read right here alongside of them, stay tuned to the end of the show for more details. Are you Team Apple? I got to shout out all of you checking out this show right now on an iPhone, iPad, etc. In fact, nearly 70% of you are listening to me on one of these devices. It would mean the world to me if you took a moment to leave a review. This is one of the best things that you can do for this podcast to help get the word out. And while you're at it, leave reviews for some of your other favorite shows. I bet they would really dig it. Oh, yeah! How's your This is Tuesday, right? My God, I'm losing track of all time, dude. I'm staying crazy busy, and I'm losing track of the days. How is your Tuesday going?
So far, so good. I'm just staying busy today for sure. Got some cool things coming up, so got to get a lot of things taken care of before it actually happens. So
I hear you, brother. Well, I was looking through the archives, and the last time we chatted on this very podcast was the 2nd of May in 2018. So we're talking like 10 months ago. And I'd love to hear some of the stuff that's been going on since then. Where do you want to start?
Oh man, so I was listening to our show before, and I was just like thinking about like what's happened since then, and a lot has. I guess we could start with my original plan was to leave Philadelphia to go to LA.
Correct.
I think I said I was going to leave or go in May or like even August. I think I might have said, but obviously, if you've been following me, if any of your listeners like copped on my Instagram, they would know that I'm still in Philly.
Yes.
So with that, basically, I was trying to give Philadelphia an honest try, to be honest. I realized my goal to get to LA that fast probably wasn't feasible because I just started a job when the last time we talked.
Yeah.
And I just it was a fool's wishful thinking goal.
Well, it's pretty ambitious, man. I can't fault you for that.
I have a problem with like making these impossible goals for myself and then it doesn't happen. But like, I guess it did give me faith and give me like motivation to keep going with everything that I was trying to do. And it actually turned into something I feel like better for me. I learned a lot since the last time we talked. I've been through a little bit more since the last time we talked, and it's been a roller coaster ride, but I think it's finally coming to a head here very soon, and I'm very excited about that. I guess we can get into that a little bit later.
Definitely. I mean, what's probably the biggest takeaway? You talk about many things you've learned since then. I mean, what is the biggest theme coming out of this 10 months? What is the biggest takeaway when it comes to what you've learned staying in Philadelphia?
That failure is okay. That you're going to fall on your face, and no matter how hard you try not to make it happen, sometimes it's going to.
Yes.
And that you just need to keep going. Like, I love when you were talking about restarting. Like, you shouldn't just restart when you're trying to lose weight or something like that.
Right.
I totally agree with that. Like, I found myself like nodding yes like the whole time you were talking about it. And like, I've had some issues with losing weight as well. I've been doing my thing, but like I would fall, but I would get back up and not just like, oh, I'm going to start over. I'm just going to keep going.
Yep.
And I think that's definitely the biggest lesson I learned, is just to keep going. Don't stop. I know, just realize like the mistake you made, or like, if you fell, get yourself back up and just keep going. And that has definitely been the theme for the last 10 months or so. The past year for me has just been finding ways to make myself happy and not letting other opinions of other people bother me too. Because there's something coming up that I know a lot of my family's not going to be happy about. I know some of my friends are probably going to be like, "That's crazy. What are you doing?"
Right.
But it's the best move for me right now, and it opens up a whole new realm of possibilities for me. And I learned that a lot too this past year. Is like, I finally took the advice that everyone's been giving me forever: do not listen to anyone else.
Yes.
Just do you. And for the most part, I did. But like now, it's just like I'm on it. Like that's like my number one thing. I wake up, if someone has something to say, don't let it bother you. Just keep going.
Exactly. And to circle back a little bit, you're talking about, the restarting or not restarting rather. I think it's important for everybody to know that, it's okay to slow down. Once in a while you run into a rough patch. I know over the summer I had 2 deaths in the family, and my creativeness just went all out the window for like a solid month and a half. And I felt like shit every day. I was not feeling it, man. Like I'd get up and I just wasn't motivated. Now I'd still go and work out. You could argue if I was putting in my best effort to it, but I just didn't feel good, man. I didn't feel like me. And so it's easy when you get these feelings to say, you know what, screw it. I quit. This is just like every other time. I know what I'm doing. I'm well aware that I'm quitting, but I'm just going to throw in the towel and give it up and just be done. And it's really easy to do that. I mean, it's really easy to do that. But what I've learned, in this last couple of years of growing as a human being, it's one of the benefits, one of the non-scale victories that you learn in like a weight loss type journey is not giving up. And so rather than quitting, just slowing down, I break it down into 4 things, much like the 4 pillars. These are not really, I guess, pillars, but just 4 steps when you run into a rough patch. Slow down, reflect, adjust, and keep pushing. And that to me is what it sounds like has happened for you.
That's exactly what's happened. And I'm sorry about your losses and your family, man. I
appreciate it.
It's I think that's like a legit reason to be able to like kind of pause, take care of your family, take care of your fam there. And yeah, it's just for me, it's just the keep pushing part. It's been very important because there's been days where before we talked where it was really hard to get up, but like now I find myself just get up. I don't check social as much. I got rid of my Facebook because it was killing me.
Right.
Time. I'd wake up and spend 15 minutes scrolling, and like that's 15 minutes out of your day that you could have done something more positive. And I got rid of that, and like ever since then, like my mental state has actually gone like it's going towards a positive way instead of like reading all that stuff and starting out your day with reading negative things. And I can't tell you how how much it's helped me. I can't say it in words.
I'm amazed at just the amount of negativity on Facebook. I kind of did something similar. I didn't outright delete it because I was afraid that I would lose the business pages that I manage on there. But, I went through and just cleared out the entire thing. I like deleted everything except for status from 2007, back when it used to be like your name and it says is this or is that or is doing this. Yeah. And it was just a status that said is bored. And that was like, that summed up Facebook for me in a nutshell. And I've kind of, come back a little bit, but only to manage the pages. I don't want to say fan page. That just sounds like an egomaniac thing. I hate that they call it that. But my pages, we'll just call it that. So I am on the platform to use those, but I stay off the main app and I just they have like a creator app where you can just jump on and manage those pages. But it amazes me just the amount of negativity on there, the amount of people, and I don't care like what side, because a lot of this is politics too, and I don't go anywhere near that stuff. I stay away from it. I steer as far away as possible when it comes to, you know, that kind of stuff, because you have people on there that they're typing like paragraphs upon paragraphs of their thought of whoever's guy is their guy or what have you. And then you have person number 2 who has the completely opposite side, and they're writing paragraph upon paragraph upon paragraph. And sometimes you see person 1 and person 2, maybe they're friends with each other, and they start arguing with each other over and over again. And it's like, look, at the end of the day, I don't care what side you're on, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to change the opinion. You're not going to get the other guy to start rooting for your guy. And likewise, they're not going to get you to start rooting for their guy. And it just turns into this thing. And I'm like, man, you know, with all this passion that these people put into their energy could be used in such a different direction. And if their passion is politics, either find a way to get into it or become a content creator, much like you or myself are, and maybe make a politic podcast and go on a rant for an hour about however, whatever you're feeling and whatever it is that you're passionate about. But my God, leave it off of Facebook. I'd rather go back to the dog pictures and kid pictures and, you know, a family pic, all that kind of stuff. I'd much rather see that stuff.
Yeah, it's I can tell you this. I've been a politic head for, I don't know, as long as I can remember, since I would say 5th grade history class.
Sure.
And but it got to me too, to where like I just couldn't stop reading like these people's posts, and it just get interesting to kind of see how people's minds work, and how like there was never a peaceful, just intelligent conversation where you can both disagree on things, but
Sure.
like just kind of come to a conclusion that, yeah, you have this opinion, but we don't need to like hate on each other. And it was just getting on my nerves, and there was just other like people airing their personal laundry on there, and
Oh, yeah.
just like then I would get caught up in watching videos that I didn't need to even be watching.
Oh
And, like,
my
just-
God, dude. I don't know if you get this on your feed. Maybe I'm just friends with the wrong damn people, but like those people that share like animal abuse photos, like I don't want to see that. Like if you're some self-proclaimed animal lover, under no circumstances should you be sharing some animal getting beaten to death with a belt or like, I don't want to see that stuff. Like I will mute you. I will block you. I will do something.
I haven't seen any of those, but like for me,
it's terrible.
I like deleted my profile, and I have a dummy account that I had just to maintain business pages.
Yeah.
And it's a fake name, some random picture. There's no friends. I don't follow anything. It's literally just to update my thing, and I don't even have it on my phone anymore. I just go on the website on my laptop, and then when I need to post something, and hell, sometimes I don't even go on there. I just use like a buffer or something.
Oh yeah,
Because
like
it
an
just
auto posting. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just like it just got way too much to where it was affecting my day. And at the same time, like Twitter is getting that way. And I just went on because I like Twitter and I like using it, but I don't know why I follow certain people that I don't even talk to
Right.
that really get on my nerves. So I just went on a mute spree, just like, you know, we can follow each other. If you want to talk to me, hit me up. But like, man, just some of the things like you said, like I wish people would use that energy to complain about or not complain, or just to do something positive,
Right.
instead of bitching about politics or why Becky Lynch should be wrestling Ronda by herself. Like I don't care. I honestly don't care. Like you always talk about it. A lot of the people I follow and I talk about value. If you don't bring value to me, I don't want you near me, you know?
Yeah.
Like I can't have that in my life anymore. I need to be able to feed off of other people, and they can feed off me, and we can make something happen. And it's just, I think this past 10 months has also taught me that like I have to weed out a lot of people in my life. And it's hard because, you know, you've been friends with a lot of people for a long time, but they're just not bringing any value to you, and they're bringing you down.
Yeah.
And that is another thing that I learned. That was a very hard lesson this year. It finally caught up to me, and I needed to make a decision, and I think I made the best one for myself.
And that's all you can do. I mean, when we're talking social media, like I know Instagram, for instance, that's one place where I've really gravitated to, just because And it's not completely immune from toxic stuff, but I find that because a lot more people are paying attention to that platform, that the quality of the conversation, the kind of folks that you may be following, it's a lot stronger than like a Twitter or a Facebook. I mean, my God, when we first started talking, years ago, Twitter was everything. I lived and died by Twitter, man. That was like my main hangout. But now I'm finding that the quality of good conversation and good community type relationships are on Instagram. And I think that's why, at least for me, I gravitate to that.
Yeah, Instagram has been nothing but a positive experience for me, and it's where I go to find inspirational things that'll just, I can look at and be like, okay, all right, that helps. I'm gonna keep going, and and just even for like informational things that I need to find out about, like concerts or things that I enjoy in my downtime, where I like to go out and go to a show, or like a new book's coming out. Like I could find everything out right there in Instagram, and not to mention the stories, IGTV. Like there's a lot of value that comes from Instagram, and I'm glad that it exists, and I never like dropped off of it, because there was a point where I was going to. But I
Yeah.
was just going to get rid of like social media as a whole. But like, so important for what I want to do and things that are coming up, that I need to keep it because it's going to help. So I'm just glad at least one of them brings me enough value to where I can benefit from it, and I can hopefully bring value to other people.
I agree 100%. I think it brings like a larger issue though when it comes to social media in general. It's like, if you're not out there, if you don't have some sort of a presence, it almost feels like in today's day and age, you don't exist. Especially if you're somebody, I tend to usually be introverted a lot. I've always kind of kept to myself. Now I'm finally getting away from that. But, I could see where, in a world now, it's like if you're not out there on social media, to a lot of people, you just don't exist. And it sounds like a weird thing to say, but I think that's the climate we're in right now.
I can agree with that. I think it's sad like it's like that, but like I can see why.
Yeah.
And but like the positive things that can come from an Instagram is that you can, you know, promote whatever you need to promote, and people are going to come and check it out. And if you keep putting out good content and like letting people in on that, on Instagram or any kind of social media, like you're going to be able to do something great with it. And it's not like, people can uh, make a good living using Instagram. And it's crazy to even think that social media can help with that. But like, because I was talking with a friend the other day about MySpace, and
Oh
like
yeah,
how MySpace made bands bigger.
it's
I
true.
found so much music on MySpace. We did an episode of my music podcast about MySpace music, and it's incredible how platforms like this can launch careers in different fields and different. It's insane. I love it, but it's also sad that like if we're not on it, don't exist, and that shouldn't be like that. Like you're a human. Like you don't need something like social media to kind of, I don't know, to
Validate you.
validate you,
Yeah.
but it's also nice to have. So I guess it's like double-edged sword, I guess you can say.
Yeah, and the thing about it now, it's like you're right. You can use Instagram or other platforms to put out what you have coming out, but the BS detector on people is so much stronger now. Like if you're not coming on there and you're not being real, people don't give a damn what you say. I mean, you could be giving away free money at the street corner and they won't give a shit if you're not like a real person. And that's one of the things that I've learned. It's like, okay, if I want to, create content and whatnot, for me, it had to be things that are true, things that bring value to people, things that, I could do a podcast like this and somebody could listen to it and get something from it. And to me, if that's not what I'm doing, I won't do it. Now that's kind of where I'm at, is like, if I record a podcast, it's like the one goal. I mean, you write, movies and things like that. It's like you have a purpose. And if you can't get to that purpose, what is the point?
Yeah. Yeah, it's if you're not going all the way with it, and you're not going to be 100% real and be it's you have to be like that to succeed in anything like this. And if people are going to want to see what you got going on. Like you said, if you're there's so much bullshit out there.
Yeah.
It's I come across it all the time, and it's like for instance, I'll put up a post, like an audiogram or one of those things, promoting my show, my music show, and
Right.
you'll see people post like, "Hey man, it's cool that you make music too. Learn how to get this many listeners on Spotify." I'm like, do you even pay attention to what I wrote? Like, I'm not a musician. I am a terrible singer. I can play guitar a little bit, but I'm not like these awesome people out there that can. Like, just it just bothers me. It's like everyone's doing it for the click or the like. They're not doing it for the real reasons.
Exactly. I mean, that's what it's all about. It's about putting yourself out there, and sharing, what you have, but being real with it. And that's, like with the health journey that I've been on, that's all real stuff. You can't fabricate that in a factory somewhere. I mean, some people can, but that's not what I'm about. I mean, when I put pictures of myself topless with my old belly hanging to the ground, that's some real stuff. I was in a real place at that point, and I'm able to look back and reflect now and share those experiences with people, and in hopes that it helps somebody. Here's where I was, here's where I am now, but most importantly, here's how I got from point A to point B. Here's what the common misconception of, this or that is, and that's really where it's at. It's sharing the story and showing the folks how you get from point A to point B, filling in all the details.
Exactly. And I can tell you this, 'cause I think I took the picture after I did your show, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
I took the topless picture I showed it. I made a goofy face in it. I was just me being goofy and showing, what I've done to myself. So people know that it's you could be comfortable, and the starting point. This is where I'm starting, because that's not going to be me the rest of my life. And the amount of love I got, the amount of support was amazing. And my favorite thing out of that whole experience, and because it was so liberating doing that, because it was the
Right.
first time, I was talking to a girl, and we were getting along really well, and she, wanted to know what I was doing, basically the first conversations you have with someone when you're trying to date. And she's like, "Oh, you write a blog? I want to read it." So I like sent her to my Instagram so she can see what it's all about, because it kind of had, at the time it was all connected. And she sees that picture, and the conversation went the worst direction it can go. But like, it told me that like it validated the whole people out there just don't get it sometimes, and they're very shallow. And it didn't hurt me. It actually motivated me a lot more. Like, I was surprised how it didn't kill me. I laughed when that girl moved on. She said, and I quote, "You look like that? Is that what you look like?"
Wow.
I'm just like, yeah, that's exactly what I look like now, but I'm changing it, and I went and wrote a whole blog about it. And it was just funny to me, because it's just like, wow, like, you see that I'm starting this journey of losing weight. Like, you would think like you'd be pretty pumped up about that, like someone's taking charge of their life. And and they just moved on, and it was the weirdest thing, but it motivated the hell out of me.
I can only imagine. I mean, think about, if this thing happened, and I'm obviously, we go through these kind of things all through life, trying to connect with people and things like that. But, you imagine the Glenn of, 5-10 years ago, something like this happened. You probably, I would imagine, would have taken it a lot harder than what you did.
Yeah, totally. I mean, even when I was in LA, and like I was living, the best life I could, and I was so happy, it definitely would have killed me. But like, I could say that when that happened, that was I forget exactly when it was. It had to have been, I don't even remember what month it was, but um, I remember exactly where I was when that conversation happened, and I was getting on the train to meet a friend,
Right.
and I just laughed the whole time, and I was so surprised with myself. And like, at that moment, I knew I grew, and I
Yeah.
grew into a more mature person, and didn't let that thing bother me, because you're right, it would have killed me 5 years ago. It would have destroyed me to where I would have gave up. Not going to lie about that. That's as honest I can get right there.
No, definitely. I mean, that it's what you learn in this process. You know, a lot of people think it's just weight loss and it begins and ends right there. And I got to drop the weight as fast as possible and all the stuff you read. But in reality, you gain so much more life lessons through this journey as you're going through that process, that to me, that's the greatest gift from this journey. It's not about losing the weight. I could have lost 10 pounds, you know, and if that's all I lost, but I gained all this life and all these lessons, I feel like I would still have a victory. Obviously I'd start working a lot harder if I'd only lost 10 pounds, but I would understand that, hey, I've gained so much more life experience from this, and you can't trade that for anything.
Exactly. It's all about the experience and the journey, man. Like, that's awesome that, you know, people can lose all that weight and then like they can be content, but like it's all about that hard journey, the things that, like you said, like the things you learned and the people you've met and talked to and the experiences. That's what it's all about. That's what it's always been about. And that's what makes people awesome. And like that's when you want to like talk to people, is like all their stories and everything that they learn they can pass on to you, and so much to learn. And it's just incredible the things that you find out on that kind of journey. And you know where I'm at in that journey, I'm not where I need to be at all, but I'm almost to a personal goal, which is to get out of the 300s. I'm close.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So, when you got started, or you were already, I think you were already in progress when we talked, but when that time had come, where were you at that point?
I started at 330.
Okay, and then so today, where are you at?
I'm at 315.
Okay, that's awesome though. That's half. You know, you've knocked that number down. If you're talking about getting to 300 or just below, you've cut that number in half already.
And it's awesome, and it's been cool. I've been doing DDP yoga.
Nice.
Like you have.
Yeah.
That's what I've been doing. I kind of like I still have a gym membership, but I find myself enjoying the yoga from home a lot more. And the last time we talked, that I always said like going to the gym was great because like you see all these other people working hard, it makes you want to work harder. And, but for some reason, like I do the yoga, you know, 2 to 3 times a week, I feel a lot better. Now, when we get into this a little bit later about what's happening next,
yes,
the yoga is going to be a lot more on my, I can do a lot more of it. And I'm very excited about that because I remember getting a message from Dallas, which was very nice. He didn't have to do it. I don't know if it was really him, but I think it was because he's the most genuine person.
Oh, it's him. Believe me, it's him. Yeah.
He wrote it to me on Twitter, and it like made my night. And it was just like the coolest thing. And then at StarCast, I was able to shake his hand and you know, tell him, you know, thank you, you know, for doing that, and thank you for creating this amazing thing. It's helping me. And he was very nice, very cool. The only didn't get to chat with him a lot. He was going around. He was just coming in, I think, the day he was coming in. So it was just really cool to actually meet him, and it's awesome. And it's a lot of work. It's a lot of pain that I haven't felt in a while. But
yes,
like it's that good kind of pain, man. It's the stuff that kicks you in the ass.
Dude, to circle back to your point about going to the gym and all that stuff, So I've been at that kind of crossroads. DDP said somewhere, maybe it's an interview or somewhere, but he had said, you know, you don't even need to go to the gym. You can do just my program and see, you know, some amazing results. And I said, okay, I'll put that up to the test because unlike, you know, so many that live and die by the scale and you know, panicking about if the number goes up one little tick every single week, I have a different approach where, number one, I haven't been on the scale in a while up until recently. I hadn't been on the scale in quite a while. And I kind of live on this kind of like testing I like to test this and test that, do this plan, jump off, try this thing, you know, but it's all custom to me. And so a month ago now, I had Vance Hines on the podcast, who was somebody that Dallas had featured. This would have been around Christmas or just after, the guy that had lost like 200 pounds in a year or whatever that number was. It was insane.
Very insane, yeah.
Yeah, we were doing the podcast and, you know, I was mentioning to him about how I used to do it. And then I just stopped in my mind. The podcast was going, but I kind of had like one of those moments where like you're out of body for a moment and you're kind of looking like 10,000 feet above. You're looking down. It's like, why did I stop this in the first place? What was I thinking? Like, what was the logic? Why am I not doing this right now? Like, gee, Gary, you've been at this for 2 years now. You're doing fine. Obviously, you're not going to give up anytime soon. So what the hell? Why not get back into it? So I started doing it again, and I was having like where I'd go to the gym 2 or 3 days of the week and then do the DDP yoga the other days. And then it just dawned on me where I heard this soundbite, and I still can't remember where the hell it came from, but he had said something to the effect of, all you need to do is DDP yoga. That's all you need to do. And you will see some amazing results. And a lot of the people that he's talked to have only done DDP yoga and have lost an amazing amount of weight. And again, for me, it's not just about losing the weight. It's about the life I gain and, you know, getting some flexibility and better balance and all that stuff. Point is, I haven't been to the gym in over a month now, and that will sound crazy to some people. If they're driving their car right now, they might slam on the brakes. Wait, what? You ain't been to the gym in a whole month? Are you kidding me? And it's true. I've been doing just the DDP yoga and nothing but. I'm not a numbers guy, but I'm down 12 pounds in a month just doing only the yoga, and that's it.
It's insane. I've done every kind of workout you could possibly do to try to lose weight over the years. I did 1 day of yoga, the first day I did it, and I couldn't believe how tired I was at the end.
Oh my God.
how much poured out of me sweat wise. I didn't even know I could sweat that much.
Yeah.
But like I was able to move a little bit better, even just a little bit. Like I just felt like I was looser, you know?
Oh yeah.
And like I was having cramps a lot in my because up to that point I was still abusing my body, you know, like
yep.
I was still drinking soda and all that stuff, and I've been cutting back so much with that. It's been great. It's a total life changer. But
that is awesome.
Like the sugar stuff, and like you would get cramps and like the Charlie horses and stuff. Mm-hmm. But like ever since I started doing yoga, I don't get that anymore. And you know, with the water intake and everything, it's just. I never thought I would like yoga. I never hated on it. I never hated when people did it. It was just, I didn't think it was for me, but man, I love it because it puts my body to the ultimate test. And I love that feeling.
Dude, the plank, that is a thing that kills me still. I'm 4 weeks in right now. And that is still one thing that kicks my ass. Now it's getting a little bit easier to process and you know, hang out, you know, as much as you can, but you know, I try to hang in there, but it still kicks my ass. I don't know if that was a problem spot for you. Some of the other stuff seems to be, I don't want to say easy, but it's manageable, like the 3-legged dog or down dog or any of that stuff.
The planking definitely was hard for me. My favorite out of the bunch though is the catcher's position, like getting that low. And I found myself being able to do it easy like the first day.
Yeah.
Everything else was a challenge, and I'm starting to get better at a lot of it. And my favorite thing about the DDP's program is like the fact that he lets you modify things and he like encourages it. And I think that's amazing because not many people do that. Like they're like, you stick to this and it's not going to work. Like he's very honest about everything.
Oh, 100%.
It's just amazing. I'm so glad that like someone that you and I both grew up watching is helping us in the long run, and it's not wrestling related. It's just yoga. It's the craziest thing to me.
I know. I the listeners of this podcast, well, Patreon people already have it now, but in another week or so, I'm about to drop. I found 2 old interviews that I did with DDP, one in 2008 from Blog Talk. Man, that thing, the audio sounded a little bit better than I expected. I did a little tweaking with it, but and then I found another interview I did with him in March of 2013, around the time he was working with Jake and Scott. And it's just 2 very interesting capsules of time that I think the listeners of this podcast will benefit from, just kind of hearing the origins about it. I know it's something that I've talked about quite a bit. I had Van Vance on. I had Stacy. I'm hoping to get him on at some point. But it's a nice look back, and I was just listening to me talk to him about my goals at that time and where my head was at. Like, well, I'd love to lose 92 pounds. I don't even know where the hell that number came from, but like, he's like, well, you can do it, bro. You can do it, and like, he was very encouraging back then. We had talked off the air a couple of times, and that's why when you told me he messaged you, I'm like, that was him, because he doesn't have to do that stuff, but he will pop into your DMs before you know it, and will send you some genuine love and support.
It's sweet, man. It's he's the coolest guy, and I was so happy to meet him at Starcast, and that whole experience was a mind blower too. Just being there with all those people I look up to, and just like, knowing that there was like I couldn't get tickets for the yoga thing because I was part of Podcast Row. So
yes.
I wanted to do that so much. It just was not feasible because like the day that we picked is the morning that we started was that morning that the seminar was. So
yeah, he's actually doing one up here in not in Virginia, but he's going to Maryland. But I'm out of town. I got to help my cousin shoot video for some vaping convention. I don't know a damn thing about vaping. I don't do vaping, but my cousin, like, he's becoming a vape reviewer on YouTube, and he's actually killing it, man. He's got a couple hundred followers on Instagram now. He's getting hundreds of views on his YouTube videos reviewing vape stuff, and I don't get it, I don't understand it, but he said, dude, will you jump in a car and come with me? I'm paying for everything. I just want you to film, help me vlog it. I said, sure, I'd be happy to do it.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's really good.
But he's coming that weekend, and so I will not have the opportunity to meet him that weekend, but I'm holding out hope for WrestleMania weekend, because I will be up there for that.
For sure. Man, I I really want to go to all these like events that are happening, like especially the Starcast 2 and all, but like it's just not going to be feasible this year with everything that's happening. And like it's a good thing, but it's just like that one of the biggest things that happened to me over the last 10 months was being a part of Starcast and going to All In, and how a cool, like, even without the wrestling part of it, just the experience of meeting these people that I've been talking to on Twitter that like listened to the show that I was part of for so long. And
right.
I'm not part of that show anymore, but it was cool just to finally meet some, faces and like get to experience this amazing weekend and get the broadcast to the world basically. And just some of the greatest experiences like happened in the last 10, 11, 12, even the full year has just been a roller coaster of great life experience and things that just made my life like just take me out of the depression I was in. And I'm so grateful. I was talking to someone the other day, it was just how lucky that I am
right.
to even be in this position. Like I'm so grateful.
Well, you've kind of alluded to it a little bit. Something's coming down the road. I mean, what can you say as far as like, what's on that roadmap looking ahead?
I have this goal board that I always like update, I get to look at every day. And one of the things was to find something that I can be happy with work wise. I lost my job. I got laid off, and it's been kind of it's all right, man. I think it honestly was for the best. And it's been tough trying to find some decent work, and I've been just going hard at it and just couldn't find it. And I have all these other cool things that I do, and the Songs for the Moment podcast. I'm starting some other things up soon. I have a short film that I want to shoot that I'm raising money for. And, obviously the biggest goal of them all is to get back to LA, but I found myself really enjoying Chicago the last time I was there, which was for All In and all that good stuff. And it was the second time I was there. And I've been circling the wagons on this this company that is forming, and it's a startup. And I can't really say too much about what it is yet, but I can tell you it's a subscription box service. And I came to terms with them to come work for them.
Wow.
And, it's going to be an experience because it's something I want to be working with video and photography and social media. Obviously, that's like my main thing, but I'll be helping with day to day, like kind of like what's going to be in the product that we're going to be making. And it's very exciting because when I was there, I checked it out because I've been in contact with these people due to a mutual friend. And I want to say so much, but I NDAs and all that crazy
Of
stupid stuff.
course. How can you at least say how far out until they really get going? I mean, how far out are they? Can you say that?
We launch in the spring.
Okay, so you're not too far away.
Not too far away, and I'm moving there on March 12th.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so it's the wheels are turning. I was uh, all like I said, all cool things happened in the last year, but like I was still spinning my tires. I had a job. I was pretty happy, but like there was something missing, and I never found my steps here in Philly, and I really wanted to give it an honest try because I'm always about going back to Cali, and I will go back to Cali. It will happen,
Right.
but it'll happen on my terms, the right way, and not some fool's goal that I made for myself on your show last time. Which listening back, I was kind of embarrassed because I was just so dead gung ho, but like it gave me something to hold on to, and it
Definitely.
reminded me not to make goals that are unattainable. Like I will get back there, and I'm using this as a launch pad to get back there. But I'm very very happy to be part of this company that's starting up, and it's definitely out of the product is out of my wheelhouse. I like the product. I've used the product, but the way that we're doing it is it's different. It's going to be something that I hope people gravitate towards, and I think it will.
Sure.
And I wouldn't have done it if there wasn't backing to it or anything like that. It would just been a really big risk. It's still a risk, but it's not as big as it could have been. But like they got backing and everything, and I'm very grateful. And like I said, I'm counting my lucky stars because there was a point in time right before I said yes that I was getting falling back into a hole again, and I was scared that I was falling too deep this time, into my own mind and depression and everything. So I sound like I'm all over the place. It's because I'm really excited about it. And
No,
I'm like
I can tell.
I am trying to walk around because I know I can't say anything, but I wanted to at least tell people like to look forward to something very soon. And once it's out, people will be surprised, but I think they'll be excited about it at the same time.
No, that's awesome. And it's like, at that point, when you're trying to like think and decide, like, is this something I should do? Or, it's like at this point, maybe you kind of think to yourself, what the hell do I have to lose? Right. I mean, it's not like you were already in some committed job where it was like really serious and things are going well. Like you just lost your job. So like, this is like the perfect opportunity to use your phrase, to springboard onto the next opportunity. I mean, it all makes sense when you think about it.
It's crazy too. So like right before I said yes, I was actually in a group interview for this job that was basically the same job I had. It was work at home tech support,
right,
for mobile phones and things like that. And the last job I was working for a company that was like being worked out of for Apple. It was like Apple. We were working for Apple, but like we couldn't say that we were Apple. It was the weirdest thing. But the second job that I was trying to get was it was the same thing. They got back to me. I got into this group interview. I was the first person. Like I was interviewed in front of a lot of people that were waiting to be interviewed. It was the weirdest thing, and it was like virtual, and I could see their faces, they can see me, and I was the first one to go.
Oh wow!
They're asking me all this stuff, and I'm like, they're asking me my experience and work. They asked me, they talked about we talked about my whole work history, and I got to tell cool stories and everything. It was a great interview. And then come to find out I didn't get the job, and I was very disappointed because I thought I did a good job. I thought I killed it. It seemed like they were very interested, and all of a sudden, like hours later, I started talking to the people at the company that I know through a friend, and they're just like, "Let's do it. Let's make it happen."
Wow.
And that's how it happened. It was like a saving grace because I remember not being able to get that job, and I was very, very sad and very down, and it's been a while since I felt like that. And, it was been a year pretty much. Like,
yeah,
I felt like it was falling down again, and I didn't know what was going to happen. But not to sound too dramatic, but that's how it felt. And it's good. I'm in a good place now. And, with everything else going on, that's like the major thing that's happening in my life right now. Who would have thought? But it's happening.
Well, it's like they say, it's kind of cliche, but it's so true. It's like when one door closes, another one opens. And when this door opens, it's like stuff that, you're actually, you can use stuff in your wheelhouse. I mean, how long have you been working on editing things or, photography? I mean, this is stuff you've been doing for years. I would kill to have that opportunity, at the moment. For me, it's like I keep my regular job, which is steady and it's fine. But at the same time, I need to flex that creative muscle. And so doing things like what we're doing right here, and trying to do videos on YouTube, it's like, this is a way for me to exercise my creativity. So, I mean, it's gotta be awesome to land something like that. And it's not like you're going to get to use some of your skills.
It's all I've ever wanted, man. Like I, I like to take risks, and sometimes people laugh because it's like, why are you taking these risks all the time? I tend to do it a lot. I tend to jump at things I know not many people would do. It's
Right.
just because I want something like this. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I don't want to regret not doing it. So if it's an opportunity that like you said, I have nothing to lose, I'm going to take it. And it's so great because they're going to be allowing me to do my own thing too. Like I can still work on songs for the moment. Um, my blog, The Comeback Kid, is I'm revamping. I'm going to be bringing a podcast to that too. I love talking. I love doing this thing, and it's been a source of entertainment personally for myself. And like
Yeah.
I'm able to talk to the people out there that like have the same common interest, or like I want to help people too. And it's been great. Like I went back and listened to some of my old blog talk shows, and just like kind of like you said, like to kind of go down memory lane. And I tweeted the other day, I was like, this is a disaster, but it's a beautiful one because we all start somewhere. And it's just crazy how long, both of us have been at this kind of thing, and we're keeping at it, and it's a great thing. So they're allowing me to do that. And like I said, the comeback kid thing, that's definitely still where I'm working on it. I'm revamping because I got some ideas, I got some things going that I want to start exercising. And since I'm not doing Rant with Ann anymore, and I have that free time to kind of work on that as well. So
No, that's awesome. I mean, you talk about being a risk taker, taking all the chances. If people want to go back to hear your previous interview, because I know we've gained a lot more listeners since your last interview, but episode 44 back in May of last year is the episode. So definitely worth checking out, because I mean, some of the stories that you shared on there, it's unbelievable when you talk about taking risks and, moving across the country to risk it all. And for a while there, you were seeing some success there. And I mean, I think that's great. I think that going to Chicago and working with this company, I think it's only going to bring good things. So I wish you all the
really hope
best.
so, man. I appreciate that. I really hope so. It's like when I was listening to that episode, the one that I did with you last time, and I was going through this like this thing in my head where I didn't think I had enough, and I didn't think I was doing more. Like I thought I was doing less than I should. And like I was listening and I was going through old stuff just to kind of give me some inspiration to kind of get back into the right mind frame.
Right.
And then I realized like I've done a lot of cool things. I've done a lot of stuff with my life that I didn't think, if I didn't take those risks, like I would be stuck in square one. And I need to stop thinking that I haven't done enough, or everyone is ahead of me and I want to get there. That's one of my biggest downfalls, is comparing myself to others. And I hate doing that because it's the worst. It's been my downfall for a very long time. And I turn to my friend and I go, if I complain about not being ahead of the game or being where everyone else, please punch me in my face, because I deserve it. Because it's like I'm seeing all these things, I'm telling these stories, and I'm seeing, all the pictures from these moments and just memories from those times. And it's like, I've done it, I can get back there. And it's just, I sound like I'm rambling, because I am. I'm all over the place. The last interview, I was kind of more cohesive there.
Oh, it's all fine, man. This is all natural.
Yeah. It's just, I don't think I've been this excited in a long time, and it's just a good feeling to be excited, because 1 year ago it wasn't like that. So
No, I hear you. I mean, when you think about next year, if the Glenn of 2020 comes back to listen to this interview, what do you think he's going to think about this?
Dude, like, it's about time he's smiling, because like it's like you could I know I'm gonna hear myself and I'm gonna say he's cheesing a lot, and I am. I've been smiling this whole time, and it's finally good to kind of like, you know, to get it all out. I've been holding a lot of things in. I've been holding that whole Chicago thing, and I mean, I've talked about it on Instagram, but I haven't really told many people about it. And this is basically the first thing, or first like kind of like getting into it a little bit more, that I've been doing, and it's nice to finally start letting the cat out of the bag, because I've been like holding it in, and I'm just like an excited little boy again.
Well, I mean, damn, you got what? Only, let's see, like 2 more weeks. Do I have that right? 3 more weeks.
2 more weeks, man. A week before I turn 32 too, so it's a nice little birthday present to myself, I guess.
Wow. How are you getting out there? You driving out there? You flying? How you doing it? You got a lot of stuff?
I the greatest thing about moving back out east was that I didn't have much, because it was all sudden, and
Yeah.
I haven't gotten a lot of my stuff back yet, because I was just waiting until I was stable enough to be able to get, because I have a lot of stuff out there. I have a lot of vinyl. I have my awesome editing computer and everything, and
Yeah.
a lot more clothes. But like, I'm flying out there this time, and I took a train out there when I went to All In and all that good stuff. So it's a different way, but it's quicker. No layovers.
Yeah.
I get there. We get to work.
No kidding. I love that. That is so awesome. But that's the feeling that I know is going to come in the next 2 or 3 years as I get ready to leave town, because it's inevitably going to happen where I'm going to go south and take my efforts elsewhere in terms of, you know, really kickstarting what I'm doing in a whole new gear. And I know that when that time comes, it's going to be scary as hell, because, you know, when you leave everything that you know to risk it on something that's unknown, it can be very, very daunting, I think. And there's probably a lot of internal, I don't know if we should be doing this. I don't know. A lot of uncertainty. And then you just do it, and it's like, holy crap.
Yeah, when you win the war with yourself on that, you'll feel so much better, man. Like, I could tell you, I've tried to leave back before California. I tried to leave Jersey, I don't know, 3 times, I think. I moved to Florida, Arizona, and like northern Jersey, to be exact. And California was just always the place I wanted to be. And I knew if I didn't take that chance at that moment, the risk, that it never was going to happen, because I could have just kept talking about it, and it wasn't going to happen. So when the opportunity presents itself to you to do what you want to do and get out, you'll do it, and it'll be the best thing you'll ever do.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, you know, now, as far as like, you know, I'm really putting a lot more, even more effort than I was into, you know, a lot of this content create, you know, podcasts and whatnot. You know, we launched the Patreon, and that's finally starting to gain some steam, which just blows me away, you know, doing this stuff for 12 years now almost, and doing it, you know, basically as a passion project, and I would do it all over again. But now when you look at it, you're like, okay, just about to pay for all the cost of what it costs to actually do this now. This is an amazing feeling. And so I feel like with that momentum, you just keep going forward and forward. And at some point it's going to get me to get the hell out of here and really go to where I want to be.
Exactly. And you're going to do it, man. It's going to be, I'm excited to watch it happen. It's going to be good times.
Me too. I'm very nervous. I don't know I don't think we talked about this the last time, because I didn't even know about these guys, but I got a lot of inspiration. I mentioned them on the podcast a couple times. Do you follow these guys on YouTube? Yes Theory.
I know the name, but I can't say that I've checked them out.
Oh man, if you want some inspiration, drop that in your YouTube machine. They just do wild, crazy stuff that just challenges you. Their whole motto is seeking discomfort. And yeah, They were guys that I think went to, if I have the story right, they went to college together and then they just dropped everything and moved to was it Venice Beach? They got a little house and they were filming these videos. Like for one instance, they go on the boardwalk down in Venice and walk up to people and say, "Would you drop everything to go skydiving right now?" And the whole premise is like trying to get people to say yes, to challenge themselves to do something crazy.
Real life, yes, man. I like it,
dude. Yes, it's it's an amazing thing, and I think when we're sitting here talking about our life's paths and worried about what the next step is or having that fear, I always think back to those guys because much like the inspiration that somebody like Gary Vee or somebody offers, these guys offer that in a different way. There's another guy that I follow, this other YouTuber, Simon Wilson. And this guy did a challenge last year where he traveled from New York to LA with no money. And he vlogged the whole thing.
Ah, that's awesome.
Yeah. And so
that's good.
Whenever I see these kind of things, you're one of the people that I think about first. Cause I'm just like, man, that's Glenn, man. He's going for it, man. He got more courage than I have at the moment. Cause if I really had it my way, I'd just drop everything and go. But I'm married and we're very settled in where we're at. And, we kind of have to make sure we're both on the same page. It's not like where if it was just me, I would just drop everything and go.
And dude, you're going to do it. And then when you're ready, you're going to do it your way and the right way. And
yeah,
it's fun to do all the crazy, just go thing. But like, I don't regret what I've done.
Yeah.
But I know when I go back to California, it'll be the right way and it'll feel 10 times better. But again, it's the risk taking, the doing it on a whim, taking that chance. It's a feeling that you can't replicate. It's unlike anything else.
Absolutely. I've made similar things, just not giving up everything and leaving town. I just haven't done that one yet. It's pretty wild.
I've done it so many times. Like it's like my parents hate it, and they're gonna. I haven't told them yet because the last time we talked, it wasn't really fun.
Right.
So they honestly think that I should be married and somewhere secured in a job that I probably wouldn't like. Just they do it because they're my parents. They love me. They want to see the best for me. I get it.
Yeah.
But like they gotta understand that I'm me. And they raised a kid that is not scared to take chances and do what he thinks is right to make his life better. And I wish they would understand that, but maybe one day they will. And if they don't, I still love them.
Well, absolutely. I think it's part of it with parents. It's like, we're growing up in an amazing, we're adults now. I mean, I guess we're still grown, but like we're in this amazing time where like a cellular phone is like a storytelling device, and there's whole new ways of generating income. It doesn't have to be that, just because mom and pop, they was working at the Shake Shack down the street flipping hamburgers, for 50 cents. They came up from a totally different generation where they busted their ass. They made very little, but they learned how to support a family. And so when they raise us, they're like, all right, you need to do this now. And a lot of times they don't understand, what we know. And it's like a whole new way of doing things. Like my mother, love her to death. I don't think she's ever heard one podcast I've done. I don't even think she knows what the hell a podcast is. And I tell her, hey, I started up this podcast and I started a clothing line, and you can tell that she supports me 100% and she's excited, but at the same time, she's like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
Just work that job you got. Just keep working that job you got.
Yeah. I that's the thing I keep telling myself too, because like I'll get down about it if like they don't support it. Like they just come from a different time where it was, I mean, they had me at an early age. It was like the late 80s, and
right.
It's like they were young still. They were really young. They were just getting out of high school, so like, they worked hard. My dad was a corrections officer in a county jail, and my mom was in retail, and like they gave us good Christmases and all this stuff. And it's just, I wish they would understand but like they'll realize it one day that if I'm happy and where I'm at in my life, then that'll probably, they know that I'm happy and that's okay. I don't want the kids or I don't even know if I want to even be married at all. I kind of just want to work on me and until I'm ready to do something that crazy. Like
Yeah.
because I can't. I'm still trying to learn how to take care of myself. I can't take care of someone else right now. It's just not happening. So
Yeah.
it's yeah, it's just I just hope one day they do realize that, like, whatever I learned from them, I took it and made it worth it, but in my own little way.
Oh, absolutely. And when that time comes to be stable and you get a family and all that, you'll know when that time is right.
Exactly.
That'll all come into place. Now, I think the last time we talked, I feel like I do this with everybody, but I think it's important. You always ask, hey, 5-10 years, what do you think it looks like? And I'm pretty sure that, you probably had some goals that you look back at now and you're like, kind of like you were talking about before, like, I don't know, if I should have picked those goals or not. But now that you're in a different place now, if you're looking ahead, what do you see now? Now that you have this new gig coming up, you got a new place to live, what do you see in the future now?
I still see California down the road. I finally made Exit Zero, and I finally am working full time in the film industry. Like that's where I see myself now. I don't think anything can stop me at this point, other than death.
Yeah, that is true. And I mean, we get one life and we better make the damn most of it that we can. That's for sure. I mean, one shot, one opportunity at this thing called life, and you got to make the most of it.
Exactly. I mean, it's like the one thing I try to tell people is you're going to regret it if you don't take the chances, you don't take the opportunities to create something for yourself if you're not happy where you're at in life. And I had this very interesting conversation with my co-host for Songs for the Moment and his wife on Sunday. They took me out to breakfast, kind of like as a goodbye, and it was like the first time I saw him in person in over a decade. So it was
Right.
nice to see him, nice to meet his wife, and we're just talking and like, they always like reading the stuff that I have to say because it helps them motivate them. And I was so nice to hear because it's the first time someone like face to face told me that. And like, it was someone that I've been friends with for the longest time since sophomore year of high school. And just to hear that I brought value to someone I didn't think paid attention to that kind of stuff really warmed me up. And like, I don't know. And it was just nice to hear. And like now he's taking his music seriously and he's, she wants to start a podcast talking about life experiences and stuff. And like, and it's all because of things I posted and things that I've talked about, or just off the cuff comments to Sean when we're ready to do Songs for the Moment. Like it made me feel good. And like, it's just nice to hear that. And to bring people value, I guess you can say.
Yeah, you never know who's listening, who's watching. There's a lot of people that more often than not, they're not going to tell you that they're paying attention, and then they'll just come out in the middle of nowhere and just hit you like a ton of bricks if they decide to share it with you. Because I know that I've gotten that a few times, and it surprises me. And I mean, in a good way. It's just like, holy crap, wow, this had an impact on somebody.
Exactly. And then like I'm going to make a pledge right here in front of everyone that I'm going to continue to keep up with the Comeback Kid website because I want to share my life experience and hope it helps one person. If it's just one, that's fine with me. And I just want to bring value to people, and I feel like I finally am at a place where I can tell the full story and not just half of it.
I love it. Dude, I appreciate you coming and hanging out. Before you go, make sure you tell everybody where to find you, where you want them to go, where they can check out everything that you got going on.
Okay, well, my main hub right now is at Real G-Rod on Instagram, and that's pretty much where you can find a lot of things. But I am always doing something, so you can find it there. But Songs for the Moment is a podcast I do. If you like music, basically, me and my co-host Sean, we bring 5 songs to the table, each of us, and we tell stories that are connected to those songs, and why we like those songs. We do a theme, and it's out every Monday everywhere. Spotify, iTunes, all those crazy places. And the comebackkid.me is my website. It's where I talk about my life experiences, motivational things. We're gearing up to really like relaunch that again.
Right.
And I'm very excited about that too. And if you want to keep up on where I'm going to be with that Chicago thing, just to stay tuned at Real G-Rod. You might see some fun stuff coming up here.
As opposed to the fake G-Rod. Don't follow at fake G-Rod.
Exactly. That's not a cool person. I don't like that guy.
That's it's an interesting concept you have with the podcast too, because I just started doing a series on Patreon where I go back and I listen to a song that I was a part of, and I give the story with the music playing underneath, and then after I'm done talking, I play the song in full, and it's just kind of weird to go back and listen to these songs that are like 10, 15 years old. It blows my mind. And then to, bring up the old stories of where they come from. That's a crazy idea.
It's one of my favorite things to do, man. It's like it's like the tagline of the show is every moment has a soundtrack. And if it's something that you created, because I know, like you said, you've written songs, you've been in bands, and that's something that I wish I've always wanted to do, and all that good stuff. And
never too late, my friend.
I know, man. I it's to learn something. I did spoken word poetry this year or last year. Just did one little demo thing. I wrote it for a girl. Don't tell anyone. She listened to it and loved it, but it didn't work. I took a chance and I did it, and it was fun and it was exhilarating, and people actually took the time to listen to it. It was really rough, but it was good. So it's probably the closest thing I ever got to that. But the show that I do, man, it's therapy for me, because I could tell these old stories and have someone to bounce it off of, and people can hear it and like, oh wow, that's pretty funny. I had something like that happen to me. And we're gonna start bringing people on soon. So if you want to get on that, bring a 5-song playlist, and we'll do it. It'll be good times.
Lock it in. I'm in. Once you get settled in your new place, we'll set something up.
For sure, man. For sure. And thank you for letting me come back on and update.
Of course.
Everyone. I wasn't too sure if like I had much to say, because it was like, it's been a year. I feel like I've done a lot, and there's still things that we didn't even brush up on, but like I didn't find them too important. Right. I just know that a lot of growth happened, and I'm very lucky to be able to do the Chicago thing, because it was looking kind of bleak there for a moment.
No, and that's what's important. And I want to encourage anybody listening right now, like, this is not some podcast where like only famous people come on and talk and all that stuff. Like, if you've been listening for any amount of time, I think you figured out by now, I'm into talking to real people with real stories. Not a lot of fluff or, celebrity stuff. Once in a while, if I had the opportunity to interview somebody famous and it was relevant to what we talk about here, obviously I would do that. But for the most part, it's like, if you have a story, you've lost an incredible amount of weight or whatever, I want to talk to people. So, don't ever hesitate to hit me up on the DM at Gary Cantrell.
Definitely do it. It's fun to talk and tell your story, guys. You'll find that there's a lot of people out there that share the same, sentiments and experience and everything, and you can find out that there's amazing people out there to talk to as well and connect with. And I've connected with a lot of people from the last time I was on your show that listened to your show, and I've connected with them, and it's been cool to meet, or at least talk to some of these people, and hopefully one day meet everybody.
Definitely. This community is an amazing thing. In May, we are getting together a group of people in Cincinnati to do a 10K race, but we're also going to hang out, meet up the night before. So I would encourage anybody listening and wants to be a part of that, come and hang out with us in Cincinnati. Ugh, I had a little tongue twister there. But dude, we'll have to do this again once you have more updates. Obviously, I'd love to follow up. This is what I love about following back up with people and finding out where they are, where they've been, where they're at, and where they're going.
Hell yeah, man. I can't wait.
All right, brother. Well, thanks for doing the podcast, and we'll talk soon.
Sure, dude.
Remember at the beginning of the show, I mentioned a little thing called Patreon? Well, I'd love to have you join me. But Gary, what is Patreon? It's a website that is helping small creators like me raise funds to further expand their creative visions. For as low as $1 a month, you can help me further my dream of reaching as many people as possible and eventually taking the show on the road to meet all these fine people face to face and add a video element to this podcast. If you were to donate $4 a month, you'd be hearing this show a few days earlier with no commercials and getting access to my close friends group on Instagram. Donate $10 a month and you get all that plus your name right at the beginning of the show alongside other producers, but act fast. That tier is limited to 10 people. I've got a whole lot more to offer and you can get all the details over at patreon.com/Gary Cantrell. If you made it this far, I really appreciate you. Thanks so much for checking out the show and I'll talk to you again really soon. HardWorkAlwaysWins.com. It's more than just a clothing line. It's my mantra. I speak it, I wear it, I live it, and I'd love to have you join the Hard Work Squad. We're constantly adding new items to the store, including our brand new Future-ish hats, which come in a variety of colors, including camo. I mean, who doesn't like camo? We also just put our famous Splash logo in gold to match our OG logo, and there's so much more here. You just got to check it out. Here's the best part. Use the code PODCAST at checkout to take 10% off of your very first order and join the Hard Work Squad today.